Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. This is Coach Oliver once again. It's day one of the Grand Chess Tour Superbet Chess Classic in Romania. And our very own Wesley So starts with a bang, winning over Shakhriyar Mamijarov. Wesley So was the lone winner of round number one. All the other games were drawn. Caruana and Firuza also drew. We have Rapport versus Aronian, a draw. Lagrave also drew with Dominguez. And the other match, it was Nepomniachtchi against Bogdan Diak of Romania. Also a draw. The only win by Wesley. Let's check it out. Wesley started with d4, knight into f6, c4, e6, knight e3. The very popular Nimzo India nowadays in elite chess. Then Nimzo with the bishop in b4, e3, castles bishop into d3, the control of the e4 square, d5, c takes, e takes, a3, bishop d6. Okay, we have actually the same position where Wesley lost his game against Sam Sivian in the American Cup. And Wesley maybe tried to erase that thought of losing that game. Went for queen c2, a6, knight ge2, rook e8. Here Wesley castled kingside. In that game, he went for bishop to d2 and castle queenside. This time around, he went for the short castle. b6. Okay, let's just point out this one that it's not possible to go for the Greek gift here with bishop takes h2. Let's say, for example, king takes h2 and you go for knight g4. All right, if you go back to g1, then black wins with queen h4. Okay, this is just to show you the Greek gift. Queen takes f2, king goes to h1, queen goes back to h4, king to g1, queen to h2, and then a king f1. Or we could also go for rook e6 here, right? Threatening rook f6 and then queen h2 mate. But with this one, knight g4, white can go for king g3. And if you go for queen g5, trying to go for knight to e3, white has f4. You play queen h5 to queen h2, just bishop d2. The king can use that f3 square to escape. And there's no mate, yeah. Bishop keeps an eye on that e3 pawn. Same as if you play the move queen to, let's say, knight g4, king g3. If you go for queen d6, f4 has to be played here for white. So the Greek gift is not working in this position. So castles, b6, b4, taking control of the c5 square. Knight d7. Mamijarov wants to play c5. Wesley went for knight f4, attacking d5. Okay, the main point of knight f4 is that if the bishop goes to b7, Wesley can play rook to b1. So c5 is not possible anymore because this bishop takes c5 and there's a pin on the bishop on b7. Bishop takes f4. White has double pawns, but he also has two bishops. Okay, plus the complete control of the important e5 square. Mamijar went for c5. Takes. The problem with c5 is that it opens up this important dark square, and you don't have that dark square bishop, yes? With d takes e5, this is now slightly better for white. The bishop will be very strong on b2. Takes on c5, rook d1, centralizing the rook, keeping an eye on d5, with that knight also attacking. Bishop into b7, knight a4. These two pawns, c5 and d5, they're called the hanging pawns. Okay, this is the way to break these pawns. Now with c4, the d5 pawn becomes a backward pawn. So that's another target. Wesley went for bishop f5, a5. Mamijar wants to get rid of the connected pawns. Bishop into e3, takes, takes. Queen goes to e7. Okay, if we go back to this position, it would have been better for black to go for queen c7 to keep an eye on f4, for example. If you play bishop e3, knight f8, this could have been a better version of the game, although Mamijar was probably worried about knight c5 here and the b6 square. That's why he went for a5 and queen to e7. Okay, rook a b1, protecting b4, g6. You cannot keep, right? This is an important moment in the game. You cannot keep the light square bishop. Wesley had to give up the bishop back with bishop takes d7 because if you go back to h3, black has d4. With the rook on b1, queen is also a target with bishop e4 over here. Right, a sense of danger. Look at that. Here, white loses the exchange. So Wesley had to give up that light square bishop on d7 in exchange for the knight. Knight into d7, knight c3. Again, the backward pawn. Knight goes back to f6, bishop d4. Nice bishop. This dark square. Wesley will not take that knight. It's just the pressure on the dark square. Knight into h5, queen d2, of course, protecting f4. f6, Mamijarov is blocking the dark square. h3, king safety, preparing g4 as well. Knight goes back to g7, bishop c5, queen to f7, knight b5. This is not free, by the way. If you go knight takes d5, then bishop takes d5. It's going to be a problem because queen takes. This is the trick. Rook e1. You either lose the queen or you lose the rook on b1. Just to show you, if you go king h2, queen takes the queen, rook takes the queen, you lose that rook on b1. So you should not miss this tactic. Knight takes d5 is not possible. Wesley went for knight to b5, double attack on d6 to the rook, and the queen on f7. Knight goes to f5, protecting the important d6 square. Wesley went for knight d4. Nice moment here by Wesley. Rook e1, takes on e8. Rook into a1, threatening rook a7. k8, rook e1. Wesley exchange on the e file. And with that one, that was a pretty smart decision by West. Look at that. He went for rook a1 first, right? Rook goes to a8, back to e1. After this one, takes. Now, here, black also gets a doubled pawn on the f file, and that f6 pawn is a target. You have to be careful that it's an opposite colored bishop, so there's a higher chance of a draw. So you must keep the queens also on the board. But that f6 is a big target by Wesley. Now, if you capture with the king, for example, king takes e8, Wesley has queen e2. You go back to f7, timing of the capture still. Because you cannot capture with the queen, there's queen e7, a double attack on the bishop and the king. So you're still forced to capture with the pawn, right? And Wesley can go for queen h5 here, and bishop g4, bishop d4. It's still winning. So queen takes e8, double pawn. White is so much better here. Bishop into d4, bishop c6. Black will just be defending from here on. f3, nice one, blocking the light square, counterplay. Pawn to h5, queen f2. The threat will be queen h4, double attack, f6, and h5. Well, nice moment here by Mamijar, queen f8. Because now if you go queen h4, he has king g6, or he could also go for queen h6 to protect both weaknesses. Yeah. Let's see, went for queen b2. Queen to b8, queen d2, protecting the important f4 square, and also b4. King goes to g6, queen e3, king f7. Here, black cannot take the pawn on b4. White has queen e6, game over. All right, so black has to keep an eye on e6. Back to f7, bishop into c3. King into h2, king g3, protecting the pawn, and also threatening king h4. Right, king g6, king h4. The king is safe on h4 because the pawn on f4 is protecting g5. There's no mate. Bishop into b5, queen d4, queen d2. Just a little bit of maneuvering here for Wesley. Bishop to d4, and finally g3. Okay, the g3 pawn protects f4. It gives freedom to the queen, so the queen can go anywhere she wants. Bishop into e8, queen into b2, queen into a3, now threatening. Okay, after queen a3, it threatens queen a7 over here, and can shift to, okay, queen a3, can also shift to her right, to the e7 square right there. Yep. So queen a4, queen into e3, queen goes back to d7, and the final move here by Wesley b5. Strong move. The passed pawn, it's also used as a distraction. Mami Jarab actually captured the pawn before resigning. But then again, and there's queen e6. How can you stop f6? Yeah, and protecting also. You cannot go queen c6. Okay, you protect both, but it's going to be mate. And just to show you the mate, queen goes to g8, king goes to h6, now g4. You take, for example, okay, f5. Okay, threatening bishop e3 mate. It's unstoppable. And if you capture with the other pawn, it still takes, right? The mate is g5. We can checkmate with a pawn, by the way. And if you capture, it's the same thing, f5. The mate is on e3, right? So after queen takes b5, or actually after b5, Mami Jarov resigned. Right, a pretty good win, a good start for Wesley. It's if Wesley wins the next few games, and probably has a chance to win the tournament as well. It's nice to start with a win, and also this is a different Wesley this time. He was squeezing it out. He tried to win, unlike in the other tournaments where he would just accept some draws where he had chances. Yeah, but this time it's different. He went all out, and this is a good sign. By the way, we hope that he keeps playing like this. This is the Wesley that we are waiting for. Yeah. All right, that was it. A good start for Wesley, beating Mamijarov in the first round. It's a single round Ruben. There are 10 players, so it'll be 9 rounds. So 8 more games to go. Good luck on Wesley in his next games. And we'll continue to cover the Grand Chess Tour, the first leg, the Superbet Chess Classic in Romania in the days to come. This is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.